to best use your time, the best way to use your time is then to go through and just read very quickly what are they asking for. And I think it's important to, through this process, to do some self-reflection, to think about what are your strengths, what are your areas of passion and interest, what are your goals, and using those as a criteria for figuring out what scholarships fit you. I think when you read those short paragraphs, you'll find out, oh, very quickly, this one fits me, or this one doesn't, and then you can make a quick decision there.
There are plenty of scholarships where the GPA is below, maybe it's a 2.5 minimum, maybe it's a 3.0, but we're not talking about 4.0 students who can apply for these scholarships. There are also scholarships that have nothing to do with your grades or your academic performance. They are solely based on service. They're based on perhaps you had, someone in your family went through a certain experience or was a war veteran, or you went through cancer as a child, or you have asthma, or you have, there are scholarships for people who have, all these various ailments, and that's going to narrow the pool of applicants right there.
Your test scores and your GPA are important, right? Because it's just part of the process of applying to college. You want to be competitive. You want to do the best that you can. But when it comes to scholarships, really, it's what are you doing with your time, both in school, before school, and after school? Are you spending that time volunteering, or are you spending that time playing a sport? Are you spending that time working a job because you have to support your family? These different areas. So for students that don't feel like they have the best grades or the best test scores in the world, find ways that you can contribute to your community.
Incurring debt is intimidating, and it raises the stakes of your education. But with your own will and motivation, as well as a strong commitment by the federal government to helping students through this debt, loans can be an effective way of investing in your future. Here, I will briefly describe some of the different loans available and how they work. But keep in mind, if you decide to take this step, please do your own research and consider your own personal financial situation. Some states have their own loan programs, as do private lenders, but the most student-friendly loans are through the U.S. Department of Education. The repayment period for any type of student loan begins 6 months after you leave college. Even if you do not graduate, you still have to repay your student loans. Perkins loans are the most favorable loans, and are only available to students who demonstrate considerable financial need. With Perkins loans, the government covers the interest that accrues, or builds up while you're in college. Once you begin repaying them, there is a 5% fixed interest rate during the repayment period. There are limited funds available for Perkins loans, so it is very important to get your FAFSA in as soon after January 1st as possible. Even those who are eligible sometimes don't qualify because all the funds have been used up by the time they submit the FAFSA. The other common type of loan is a Stafford loan. Like Perkins loans, subsidized Stafford loans are available to those who meet a certain financial need requirement, and the government will pay off the interest that builds up until your repayment period starts. Subsidized Stafford loans have a 5.6% fixed interest rate. Unsubsidized Stafford loans are available to everyone who fills out the FAFSA. There is a 6.8% fixed interest rate on these, and you also have to pay back the interest that builds up while you are in school. All three of these programs have limits to how much you can borrow. As you can tell, the government does not provide the same amount of support to unsubsidized loans than to subsidized loans, but they still keep the interest rate below that of a private loan. Private loans should only be used as a last resort. They have higher interest rates, there is no cap on how much you can borrow, and can lead you into serious future financial trouble if you are not careful.
There's a lot of concern about over-indebtedness and really saddling students with too much debt as they graduate. However, if loans are the only means by which a student can access higher education, it's a good investment. If you think about when you finance a car, the second you walk off a car lot, your asset is beginning to depreciate. With your education, that is only going to help you, we would hope, improve your earning eligibility over time. So as long as students understand that they do need to be paid back and there is that repayment obligation and they're cautious about what level of debt they take on, I think they should consider it if it's really going to provide them access to that opportunity.
So it is tough. The economic situation is daunting nowadays, but you have to know that there is money for families to take advantage of, and you have to know that in general. Even if you don't know the details, and that's when you get in contact with your local financial aid person, or there may be a counselor at your particular high school that you can get in contact with. Start there. Let them begin to give you some information that lead you down the road.
Yes, it is feasible. It is not without fraught and worry and being overwhelmed with all the terminology and paperwork. There are many programs, but with many programs come, more you have to wade through and understand. Again, completing the FAFSA early, communicating and visiting with the college will help alleviate that process tremendously. Everyone can go to college. Everyone, if they are interested in going to college, should go to college. It's a matter of where do you want to go and how will you fund it, and deciding among all of the options what's the best package for you.